Now, in my humble opinion, and this is just my humble opinion, they should have all become multi-millionaires.
Presently, as I would see it, and this is only my unassuming assessment, they ought to have all become multi-decuns. Monique, the unashamed sovereign of satire, is causing disturbances in Hollywood once more, and this time, it's not simply with her sharp mind and humor. She's standing firm and revealing insight into the dim universe of pay variations and the abuse of dark entertainers in Tinseltown. What I will not do is hush up. I won't disappear. I won't withdraw. Monique has at absolutely no point ever been one to beat around the bush. Endlessly time in the future, she has kept on uncovering how Hollywood apparently demolished the vocations of dark entertainers. Truth be told, in an as of late re-emerged interview, Mo shared the stunning disclosure that Tiffany Abadan, Gina Corridor, Jada Pinkett, and Sovereign Latifah were altogether come up short on for their jobs in the blockbuster hit Young Ladies, troupe which rock in more than $100 million in the cinema world. They ought to have all become multi-decuns off of that movie. This is an unmistakable sign of the business history. With regards to perceiving and compensating the gifts of dark entertainers, yet this isn't whenever Monique first has reprimanded Hollywood. She was recently entangled in a significant aftermath with industry heavyweights Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels. This previous contention is by all accounts intently attached to her flow. Seize on the difficulties confronting dark entertainers. In a convincing turn, Monique introduced proof of Hollywood's inconsistent compensation scales. She referred to the Forbes rundown of the best 10 most generously compensated entertainers in Hollywood for 2017, featuring the glaring shortfall of Ladies of Variety. On that rundown, that is the first most generously compensated entertainers, and full currently individuals, are saying why there are no Ladies of Variety on this rundown. This glaring uniqueness highlights the requirement for change in the business. Anyway, Monique's campaign for pay value and fair treatment has collected help from individual comics and performers. Lunel, another comedic force to be reckoned with, looted Monique's boldness to go to bat for what's right. Lunel underlined the significance of ladies in satire standing together in fortitude anyway. In the wake of digging further into the matter, it appears as though Monique's cases about the amusement world could really have a few legitimacy. And think about what there's a succulent dish to spill, you see. There's a lot of spectacular dark entertainers who were the supreme sovereigns of the 2000s, yet incidentally, Tinseltown chose to treat them with complete disdain, so we should examine these dark sovereigns and what truly befell their vocations. Stacy Run, hi, my shortcoming, how you doing? I was hanging tight for you inside. Why I needed to request that you wed me. Stacy Run, a name notable to Hollywood and TV crowds, has been both a commended entertainer and a dubious well-known individual. Her excursion in media outlets is an obvious impression of the difficulties looked by people of color, uncovering a Hollywood that can be savage and unforgiving. Scramble's vocation in Hollywood started on a high note with her breakout job in the 1995 movie Clue, where she depicted the stylish and spunky Dan Davenport, so that shopping with Dr. Seuss. Well, basically, I wouldn't skin a collie to make my knapsack F. I was a stop sign. I completely stopped the movie's prosperity, launch her into the spotlight, and she turned into a perceived face in the business anyway. Her profession followed a turbulent way set apart by discussions, individual battles, and expert difficulties. One of the debates that overwhelmed Run during her profession was her vocal help for concerned moderate political perspectives, which set her in a troublesome spotlight in a transcendently liberal industry. Her straightforward moderate position made her an exception, prompting huge kickback and even allegations of being a backstabber to her own local area. Run's encounters shed light on the business prejudice towards dissimilar political philosophies, particularly when voiced by people of color. In 2012, Scramble openly embraced Glove Romney in the official political decision, a move that gathered broad consideration and analysis. I accept him. You realize I've watched him for some time. She confronted a blast of put-downs and slanderous remarks from the individuals who contradicted her political position. This episode embodies the business propensity to shun people of color who express perspectives that vary from the standard. Has Run's vacation advanced, she experienced proficient difficulties that further uncover the business brutal real factors. She talked transparently about her battles to find significant jobs and her discernment that the business type cast her as the quintessential furious person of color. Around then in my life, it was what my identity was, and I understood in 2016 that outrage is unreasonable. This pigeon-hole holding of dark entertainers into restricted cliché jobs is a foundational issue in Hollywood, sustaining racial inclinations and restricting open doors for skilled individuals of color. Yet in spite of her difficulties, Run's profession went on with appearances in different TV programs and movies. Despite the fact that her conspicuousness wound down, she joined the cast of the unscripted television show Single Women, which offered her a stage to recover perceivability in the business. Anyway, Run's process likewise included individual preliminaries. For example, a wild marriage and legitimate issues, her perplexing individual life, and the public examination she confronted added one more layer to the difficulties that people of color in the business persevere in. 2020 scramble declared her withdrawal from the political circle. Perceiving the disruptiveness it had caused, she communicated a craving to get back to acting and narrating, stressing her affection for the art that had at first pushed her to fame. Run's development and readiness to concede her stumbles exhibit a strength frequently expected of people of color. Exploring Hollywood's unforgiving territory, Reagan Gomes Preston, too youthful to possibly be this exhausting. We want a few companions. We are not exhausting. We're residing the fantasy. Reagan Gomes Preston, a carefully prepared entertainer, known for her sincerity and support, has graced Hollywood stage, as well as resolutely uncovered the dim underside of an industry that frequently blossoms with deception and racial obtuseness. Her process is a demonstration of the colossal difficulties looked by people of color who, regardless of their certain ability, are frequently consigned to the edges of the diversion world in the great venue of Hollywood, where charm and marvelousness are marched as ethics. Reagan Gomes Preston's Encounters Act as a distinct wake-up call that not all that sparkles is gold. Discussions have on numerous occasions whirled around her, raising questions about her promising vocation anyway. It's fundamental to comprehend that large numbers of these discussions were not through her own effort, but rather were fairly coordinated by outer powers that look to take advantage of and control stories for their own benefits. One of the champion minutes in Gomes Preston's vocation was her vocal judgment of Bill O'Reilly's racially cold-hearted remarks about subjection. While O'Reilly minimized the repulsions of bondage, Reagan Gomes Preston utilized her foundation to uncover the slanted, verifiable view that actually torment America. Her activities were an unmistakable update that in Hollywood, revolting against shamefulness frequently comes at an individual expense as it rocks the boat and undermines the delicate story of people with great influence. Yet contentions weren't the main difficulties. Reagan looked in her excursion private matters, obtrusive media examination, and the twisting of her confidential life became not all bad. Hollywood's savage paparazzi and sentimentalist tabloids established a climate that left her uncovered, defenseless, and on occasion unjustifiably depicted on the expert front. Reagan Gomes Preston experienced the profoundly dug-in predispositions against individuals of color in Hollywood. Open doors for significant jobs were scant, compelling her into a difficulty adhere to her standards or acknowledge guaranteed cliché jobs that sustained hurtful stories. It was an unfortunate decision, one that delineated the business detachment toward variety and equivalent portrayal. Reagan Gomes Preston's process likewise remembered a spell for the famous series That Seven show. Gracious hello, Melissa, how's the challenge going? Week. Yet essentially the simpletons are engaging. Look at that bonehead's fro. While many treasure recollections of the show her experience was defaced by the disrupting real factors of Hollywood, she confronted an air that didn't satisfy the happy veneer introduced to the public her disclosures about the treatment she got on. Said especially the remarks from a chief encouraging her to have less backtalk revealed insight into the foundational bigotry. Sneaking in the background, even with these misfortunes, Reagan Gomes Preston arose as an encouraging sign, and a voice for change, her steadfast obligation to testing the business, the state of affairs, fills in as an update that the amusement world, like the general public it reflects, has de-established issues that need tending to as we dig into Reagan Gomes Preston's story. Plainly Hollywood, with its stunning outside, frequently disguises a hazier, more evil side. The account of Reagan Gomes Preston reveals insight into the cruel real factors looped by people of color in the business, where open doors or restricted discussions are taken advantage of, and individual lives are mercilessly investigated. Nicole Robinson, in the breath